Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we are going to learn how to build the fully diminished scale. In our previous video, we kind of talked about a 10,000 foot view of what diminished scales look like, and we mentioned that they are symmetrical, they are octatonic, meaning that they have 8 notes, and that there are 2 different modes. We have the half-whole model and the whole-half model, and today we are going to learn about the whole-half model, which is the fully diminished scale. The fully diminished scale can also be known as the diminished 7th scale. And that has to do with the chord that it creates, the underlying chord. Let's go ahead and dig in and start building this. And so if I wanted to build the C fully diminished scale, I would have something like this. I'm just going to alternate whole steps and half steps. So I have a whole step, then a half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, and back to half step. And let's go ahead and label these, and you'll see that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 notes there. So this is definitely an octatonic scale. What I'd like to go ahead and do from this point is actually build a few of these other diminished scales. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so I went ahead and wrote out 6 different diminished scales here. So I've got this set here in pink, and I've got this set here in green, and we can see that we're going C, D flat, D, E flat, E, F. So in a sense, this direction is positive. We're ascending that direction. Now, you may wonder, why did I choose to write them in different colors? And what I want you to see, this is a very interesting phenomenon. There are only 3 fully diminished scales. And so if we take a look at them, if I take a look at this one here starting with C, and I can see that I've got C, D, E flat, F. Let's just kind of roll with that for a moment. And let me go down here to this one, and I can see that this E flat is the same as this E flat. Okay, so let's underline it. Yep, those are the same. F, well, that's certainly the same. G flat is the same. A flat and G sharp, those are enharmonically the same. A, B, C, and D. And you can see that they are exactly the same. They're identical. They're just in a different order. Okay, well, let's see. What if we took a look at this one? B flat. And if I go, same thing, I'll go to this one over here. And D flat would be equivalent to C sharp. Here, E flat is equivalent to and harmonic to D sharp. E is the same as E. G flat is the same as F sharp. G, G, A, B flat, C, and C. And lastly, let's take a look at this one. And here I'm starting with D and D. And let's do that doubles here. D is going to be, well, there's a D. E, F, here's F, and let's see, G, A flat, B flat, B, C sharp, and C sharp. So what do you know? There really are only 3 fully diminished scales. That's it. That's a really interesting result, and it has to do with the symmetric nature of these scales. Because we're using whole steps and half steps, whole steps and half steps, whole steps and half steps, all the way through the scale, it's bound to repeat at some point, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So let's kind of look at some more interesting things about this. If I were to write out a chromatic scale, and I'll go ahead and do that here, and I'll do it in flats, and if I write out the whole chromatic scale, D flat, D, E flat, E, F, G flat, G, A flat, and back to A. Well, it turns out that because there's only 3, I have 12 notes. And so if I were to take 12 notes and I divide it by there's only a total of 3 scales, that means that they should repeat essentially every 4. Okay, so we can go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you can see over here that this is an A and this is an A, so they're the same A. So we have 4 4 sets, right? And like I had said, they repeated every 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 would be essentially the repeat. So they repeat on the 4th. And so here are 3 fully diminished scales, which are identical to these 3 fully diminished scales, which are identical to these 3 fully diminished scales, which are identical to these 3 fully diminished scales. So if I could write that information out in maybe a little bit more concise way, we could show that D flat, E, G, and B flat are all the same scale. D, F, A flat, and B are all the same scale. And finally, E flat, G flat, A, and C are all the same scale. And so that's the full story here with the fully diminished scale.